back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Trisha Penn. I'm a licensed real estate agent in New York City, and I also write a fashion, food, and lifestyle blog called feastandfashion.com. Here on Feast and Fashion TV, we talk about fashion, food, lifestyle, and of course, real estate. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up and hit that notification button so you'll know when all of these videos drop. Thank you so much for sticking with me for 10 days of Vlogmas. Today is our 10th Vlogmas video, and I am just so thankful that you guys have stuck it out with me and stuck in this ride. Today's video is a little different from my other Vlogmas videos in that I'm just going to sit here and chat to you guys about my real estate journey a little bit and kind of encourage any of you guys who are looking to start a career in real estate in the new year. So yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I am a real estate agent, obviously. I started my real estate career actually in 2013 in Maryland. I'm originally from Maryland, and I was only 23 years old, so fairly young, and didn't really know too much about real estate. I didn't have a big network. So I kind of just tagged along with some of the agents that I knew, did open houses to try to gain business. And in the first year that I was in real estate, I did not sell not a single house, but I did do a few rentals from just being in a space and just, you know, trying to work consistently. But eventually I figured out that real estate was just a little too difficult for me to sustain just by itself, because I wasn't generating the income that I needed, which is probably my first kind of tip for you guys if you are looking to get into real estate. I would never advise anybody to get into real estate if you don't have either a little bit of a cushion, as in a savings, or someone to be able to help support you, if that's a spouse, if that's a parent. I do not advise you to get into real estate because it's just you never know how long it's going to take you to get your first deal. So you just want to have like a little bit of a safety net when that was something that I did not do. I did have a spouse, but then he was my boyfriend, that helped support me, to a certain extent, to stay afloat. But I eventually, after my first year of being in real estate, not even after my first year, during my first year of real estate, I ended up starting to work for a bank as a banker because I just needed consistent income. So I worked for the bank, and that was a lot easier for me because, you got your clients, the clients kind of walked in and you made rapport in that kind of way. But I knew that wasn't something that I wanted to do long term. I really wanted to sell real estate, and the way that I even got into real estate was because I used to watch a lot of HGTV, and there was this show on HGTV called Selling New York, and one of the agents on the show, Jared Randolph, he was a young, in his 20s, black agent killing it in New York City. And I saw this guy and I was just like, I want to be like Jared. Like, why not be like Jared? And I'm going to tell you about a full circle moment with Jared because it's funny. But I saw that and I was like, I want to be like him. He was on Forbes 30 Under 30, and at the time I was just like, that was an aspiration for me. So I decided that's actually what made me get into real estate in the first place. So after my first year in real estate, I didn't really do that well, ended up working a regular job. Coming into my second year in real estate, I decided, if I'm going to do this real estate thing, and I really wanted to do it in New York, because New York, our market, there's no market in the world that's like New York City real estate. We are the real estate capital of the world. Obviously if you watched $1 Million Listing, New York is where it's at. So I was just like, all right, well, I have my real estate license, I have this job. Let me study and get my real estate license in New York, see if I can transfer my job to New York, and then move to New York and see if I can make it as a, you know, as a part-time agent and work in my regular job. So I took my classes online and came up one weekend to take my test. I passed my test, and I, you know, after that fall, which was in late October, we ended up moving here to New York. And after about 2 months, I realized quickly that it's way too difficult to do real estate the way that I wanted to do real estate part-time. You have to be, there's not many agents that are super successful as a part-time agents unless they had an established business, or, you know, they have a really successful other business. It's just very difficult to do two kind of things at the same time. So I decided that I would leave my job and do my real estate full-time, which again was a big mistake because I still didn't have like a safety net. It was just me and my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, and we were struggling in our mid-20s, didn't know what to do. So we struggled for a little while while I tried to get this little real estate train off the ground. So after I started out at my first brokerage in January of 2015, and I was there for 3 years. That firm was a very rental heavy firm, and they kind of drilled in my head like rentals. Even though they did sales, they said, oh, if you do a lot of rentals, your rentals will eventually turn into sales. So that's kind of like the model that they had, instead of actively seeking for sales clients and actively trying to work with sales clients. They came up great. If you established yourself and you had a sales background, even better. But they were really pushing rentals, and I was just like, I know I don't want to do this rental thing all my life. I don't want to just be a rental agent. And if you're not familiar with the rental system in New York City, agents make a great living, actually. If you close a lot of rental deals, you can make a really substantial living here. But it's a hustle. You have to advertise, and then, well, back then you had to advertise and then hope for someone to come and see your listing and want to inquire about it. And then once they did, then you take them out. There was no real loyalty. People went behind your back. There was just, you know, a lot of things. So I'm 100% certain that I've shown apartments to thousands of people, but only have closed or have rented apartments to hundreds of people. So that goes to show you the ratio of how much effort it goes into renting apartments in New York City. So that was kind of what I did for my first 3 years in real estate, and it was kind of difficult. Obviously, it was a hustle, but one thing about me, I am a hustler. All of my friends, all of my family, everybody always comments about how I have a really strong work ethic. So I hustled for that time, but I didn't feel like I was being supported by my brokerage. So I decided to switch brokerages and get on a team. And on that time, and in that year of being on the team, you know, I definitely learned a lot. But I realized quickly that the team structure wasn't necessarily the structure that I kind of wanted to be in. So I decided to just be a solo agent again and just try to do my own thing. Eventually, before leaving my previous brokerage, I actually established relationships with landlords. So I ended up, instead of taking a bunch of clients out as a tenants agent, I ended up being a landlord's agent, which if you're in New York City, like, it's one of the best positions you could be in, because basically you get listings and people come to you. So it's a lot less tedious. It's a lot it's just a lot less tedious. It's a lot less work. Obviously it is a lot of work, you know, listing apartments and showing it. If your listing has 15 people that want to see it, you have to juggle that. So there is some, you know, difficulty to it. But to me, it was just a lot easier than trying to attract clients and then take them out and then they not like it and then maybe they do like it. So it was a lot better for me So I ended up being a tenants agent, which actually worked out a little bit better for me. And after my first year at my current brokerage, which is Compass. So if you're not familiar with Compass, we are a huge brokerage. We are one of the top 3 brokerages in the country now, and we are only 8 years old. So a very new company, but very, very powerful company. I love it here. I can't say that enough. But after joining Compass, I was on the team. Team structure didn't really work out for the first year. So the second year I decided to branch out on my own. And the way that I felt like I was going to develop relationships with people, which is kind of why I wanted to join a team, because I felt like learning from other people is definitely a really, really great way, especially in real estate, to learn how to do anything, even in any industry. You learn from someone who's already do it. Don't recreate the wheel. I like to read a lot of personal development books, and I listen to a lot of personal development podcasts, and that's the first thing that they will tell you. Get a mentor, get some kind of guidance, so that someone that is able to kind of train you and to teach you about whatever field you want to be in. So instead of being on the team, I decided to just partner with different agents. Like if they needed help doing something, I would say, hey, I can help you with showings. If you want to, you give me this cut. So that kind of way I was able to learn and not necessarily have like a boss, because I was helping out people. And in that first year of me doing that, having gone from, being in real estate for 3 years at that point and having no sales, I ended up closing my first 3 sales in New York, which, to a lot of people it's like, oh, you only closed 3 sales? That's not a lot. But in New York City, it's actually a pretty good amount, again, because I was a rental agent, and also price points here are a lot higher. So in my 3 sales, they actually totaled to about $4 million in sales. So three deals, but there was $4 million in sales, which is amazing. But after that, I really got the itch. I was still doing my rentals with my landlord, which also sustained me. But then I was like, the next year I'm gonna go hard and even harder. And that next year was this year, being in a pandemic. But I have to say that I have been very fortunate in that I have now, as of today, probably almost tripled my income from last year. And that was because, again, I have a very strong work ethic. So if I have to teach anyone anything about being in real estate, especially in New York City, you have to have a certain kind of drive that will push you forward, because nothing is going to be handed to you. And I know that for 100% certain, because I know that there are agents that are a lot more connected than me, a lot more seasoned than I am, have closed a lot more sales than I am, that have a quarter of the business that I'm currently carrying right now by myself. And I have to attribute that, one, to God, because can't do anything without Him, but also to the fact that I know my why. I know my why. I want this to work because I have the vision of myself just being a successful person in this field and eventually moving to other fields. I just knew that I needed to do that, so I put my bootstraps on and I hustled this year, even through the pandemic, even though there were a few months in New York City when we couldn't show. Even throughout all of that, I made sure I did it. And this year will probably be closing close to over $10 million in sales. Combined, I would say. And then that's not even including my landlords, again, because now I first established myself with one landlord, then I got 2, and now I have about 8 different landlords that I work for, and that gives me a total of almost, I would say almost 150 units in the city, between Manhattan, between Bronx, and between Brooklyn. I have about 150 units that, eventually they'll turn over. I'll rent one here, rent one there. So definitely a lot better, and I can just see that 2021 will just be even 10 times better. You know, as we speak, I have 4 closings that are pending in for January, for the first month. So yeah, so that's kind of my story. That's a little bit about me, about how I got started in real estate, and some of the things I just wanted to just talk about and encourage people. Again, if you're starting in real estate, to make sure you have that safety net. There's no shame in having that 9 to 5 and putting a little bit of it away so that you'll have a savings to launch your real estate career. The second thing I want to mention is to collaborate. Be collaborative, work with other people. Don't feel like you have to know everything, do everything, and just struggle on your own. And with most brokerages, you'll have a manager that can help you, and yes, of course, they'll help you to whatever extent, but they also have other people that they have to help. So one of the best ways I found to get assistance, or even just to learn things, like people didn't even really necessarily assist me with things. I just kind of attached myself to them and learned things along the way. And that would be to just work with other agents. See if you can help, you know, that senior agent with whatever they have to do, with whatever they have to going on. See if you can just ask them if they need someone to do the open house. See if you could tag along with them on their showings and stuff like that. I think that's definitely a great way to be able to learn and to build up that portfolio. And then the next thing is just really being a hard worker. Talent is great, but there is nothing like hard work. Ever since I was at the bank, even when I was at the bank in Maryland, a lot of people told me that I would do very well in real estate because I'm very charismatic. Like I have a way with people, I have a way of talking, I'm very quirky, cool, you know. So that I'm like, okay, great, I'm charismatic, people are supposed to come to me, but that it doesn't work that way. You always have to have a work ethic and to stay on top of it. I actually, before filming this, I had a call with a client, and I was like, oh, hey, she was like, oh, you're busy? And I was like, no, just finishing up some work. And she was like, every time I talk to you, you're always working. It's like you're working 24/7. And I don't necessarily work 24/7, but I do work a lot, and I really hustle and like to work hard for my clients. I like to see them succeed and get the goals that they want of achieving home ownership, or achieving the apartment that they want, or achieving getting the investment property that they're looking for. So that's why I really do what I do, and I try to work hard at it. And some of the advice and some of the other things that I would kind of say would be to make sure, one, that you have some kind of routine, just something that kind of anchors you. I am a big advocate of having a really great morning routine, and hopefully I'll be able to share that with you guys eventually. But I also am I have a big strong belief of self-development. So I developed myself within those past 3 years. I have been an avid reader, reading tons of books. Eventually I'll share that with you and share some of the ones that I recommend, but I read tons of books to grow my knowledge, and I feel like that is also a direct correlation to why I've had such a successful year this year, because I made sure that I was working on myself, working on my business, learning new things, learning all different things that I could do to grow myself and my business. So that is definitely something I would recommend you if you are looking to get into real estate. So that, I think, is it for my story today. This wasn't too long, and I didn't want to dive all the way into the real estate game. I just kind of wanted to tell you guys my background in real estate and how I ended up here, and how I'm doing a little bit better. I say better because I haven't reached the pinnacles that I want to reach. I know that I will reach them, and that mindset is what's going to even get me there, because I know that I am going to definitely reach where I want to be, but that's just a little bit about how I started and started to grow. And it doesn't happen overnight. Again, I've had my real estate in a month. It will be my real estate license in a month will be 8 years now that I've been in real estate. So quite a bit of time, and this is my not my real first year, but one of the first years that I'm really like doing doing pretty good. So so yeah, that is it for me today. I thank you again, guys, for watching my YouTube video and hearing me ramble and just supporting me as much as you guys do. Again, I encourage you guys, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. Hopefully I can do more chats like this and more, you know, just real estate oriented content. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you would be interested in. And again, join me tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 11. Thanks again for watching.